Stop what you're doing. If you are around other people right now, what I am about to say is not for them, it is for you. This message was not placed in front of you by accident. Something guided you here, something that knew, today of all days, you needed to hear this. Take a breath. A real one. Now, hear me closely. What you did today, or this week, or in this quiet season you have been carrying, was seen, not by the people around you. Most of them did not notice. Not in any way the world measures or celebrates, but seen by something infinitely greater than any audience this world could assemble. And here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. What you did was so rare, so heavy, so far outside the ordinary pattern of human choice, that even the language of heaven had no immediate word for it. God was not silent because he was absent. God was silent because some things are too sacred for immediate sound. You chose something today that most people in your exact situation would never choose. And I am going to spend this message telling you exactly what that was and exactly what it means for everything that is coming next. Before I do, I want to tell you something important. Stay with me until the end of this video because I am going to show you 3 things. First, I will show you what you actually did, decoded in a way you have never heard before. Second, I will show you why it cost you more than you realized, and why that cost is the most significant thing about you right now. And third, I am going to show you what heaven does next when it witnesses something this rare. Do not leave early. What I save for the end of this message is the part that will change how you see everything. Now, let us begin with what you did. I want to describe something, and I want you to listen for the moment when it sounds exactly like you. You woke up recently carrying something heavy, not a dramatic kind of heavy, the quiet kind, the kind that does not make headlines, the kind that nobody films, the kind you carry so consistently that it has started to feel like it simply belongs to you. And in the middle of that, you made a choice. You chose silence when you had every right to be loud. You chose patience when everything in you was tired of waiting. You chose to keep going when the evidence around you gave you full permission to stop. You chose to remain faithful to something that was not giving you visible results, in a season that offered you nothing but the quiet sense that this was still the right thing to do. You chose kindness when bitterness tried to take the wheel. You chose not to react when reacting would have been the most justified thing imaginable. You chose one more time to stay true to who you actually are, when becoming someone smaller would have been so much easier. Nobody saw it, nobody applauded it. And part of you, even as you were doing it, probably whispered, "Does any of this matter? Is anyone paying attention to this? Does the faithfulness of someone no one famous is watching, does it register anywhere that actually counts?" I want to answer that question, because I need you to understand something about your body and what it has been telling you lately. Some of you have been experiencing a specific kind of tiredness. Not the tiredness that sleep fixes, something deeper. A fatigue that lives in the bones, the kind that arrives even after a full night of rest, and you cannot explain it, and it has made you wonder if something is wrong with you. That is not illness. That is your body processing a level of spiritual weight that most people never carry. Some of you have been experiencing emotions that come in waves without a clear trigger. Peace, and then sadness, and then a strange, inexplicable hope, and then quiet, and then the cycle again, and you cannot locate the source of any of it. That is not instability. That is your inner world reorganizing itself around something larger than your current circumstances. Some of you have noticed that the things that used to feel normal now feel suffocating. Conversations that once felt fine now feel draining. Environments that once felt comfortable now feel like they belong to someone you used to be. That is not you becoming difficult. That is you becoming. And some of you have been having dreams that are more vivid than your waking life. Dreams where you are searching for something, or walking towards something, or being handed something you do not yet have a name for. That is not your imagination running away. That is the part of you that already knows what is coming. Every single one of these things is a sign, not of breakdown, of breakthrough. What felt like barely holding on was actually holy endurance. What felt like emotional confusion was actually your system expanding to carry more than it was carrying before. What felt like being unseen was actually the specific kind of preparation that can only happen in private. Now I need to tell you something that will explain why all of this has been so hard. And I need you to stay with me here, because this is the part most people never get to. There is a reason the faithful choices cost you more than they seem to cost other people. There is a reason the silence is heavier for you. There is a reason the gap between who you used to be and who you feel like right now is so painful. And the reason is not weakness. The reason is the opposite of weakness. You were not built like everyone else. There are people who move through life, and the weight of things does not land on them the way it lands on you. They make choices without much internal cost. They do not feel things at the depth you feel things. They do not carry what you carry because they were not designed to carry it. But you came into this world with a capacity for perception, for depth, for connection to something beyond what is visible, that is genuinely outside the ordinary range. Scientists who study the brain have a language for this. They call it the gamma frequency. The brainwave pattern associated with genius-level intuition, with deep creativity, with the ability to sense things before they become visible. Children have it fully. And for the chosen one, that capacity is higher than average from birth. But something happens between childhood and adulthood. The systems around us, the pace of modern life, the education designed for conformity, the environments that reward reaction over reflection, they gradually quiet that frequency down. Researchers have called this the decline effect. The distance between who you were at 7 years old, that child who learned fast, sensed deep, felt everything so clearly, and who you feel like right now, that distance is the distance of gamma. And here is what matters. Because the chosen one's capacity is higher to begin with, when it is quieted, the loss feels more profound, the gap feels wider, the heaviness feels more total. That is not your failure. That is the size of your gift, made visible by its absence. And this is why, when I came across something a neuroscientist developed specifically around gamma restoration, I felt compelled to share it in this message, with this particular community. Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying the gamma brainwave. His research involved institutions like MIT, Harvard, Stanford, and Princeton. And what he found, again and again, was that the restoration of gamma frequency could not happen through willpower alone. It could not happen through meditation, which takes months most people cannot sustain. It could not happen through expensive biofeedback equipment that costs $7,000 or more. What he found was that gamma could be reactivated through a precise 7-minute audio experience. A digital track that uses a technology called brain entrainment to guide your brain back into its natural frequency, not through effort, not through discipline. Through sound, he called it the genius song. I want to be very clear about what this is for. This was not created for everyone. This was created for people who already sense, at some deep level, that they were built for more than what their current daily experience reflects. People who remember what it felt like to think fast and feel clearly and move through the world with an almost magical ease, and who want to understand why that faded and want something real they can do about it. If that is you, here are the practical details. The standard price for the Genius Song is $49. That is already a fraction of what a single biofeedback session costs. But because Dr. Lake wanted this technology to reach the people who genuinely need it, not just the people who can easily afford everything, he has made it available at $39 exclusively for people watching this video. That price does not exist anywhere else, not on Amazon, not on any other platform. At $39, you receive the core 7-minute audio track. You also receive 4 bonus items at no additional cost. The Genius Child Track, designed for activating focused brainwaves in children. The original classic book that inspired the film, The Secret. A guided visualization across 4 areas of life. And a printed infographic of the 5 most important habits for creating your future. And if you listen and feel no difference at all, you receive every dollar back. No explanation required. No forms. No conditions. The only place to access the genuine product with full technology, all 4 bonuses, and the full money-back guarantee is the link in the description and the pinned comment of this video. I have to tell you this clearly. There are imitation versions circulating. They use the name but do not contain the actual brain entrainment frequencies. The only real version is through the link below. If you feel called to explore it, it is there. And if this is not your moment for it, that is completely fine. Either way, stay with me. Because what I am about to show you in the next section of this message is the most important thing I will say today. Because I still have not told you what heaven actually saw when you made that choice. And I have not told you what kind of silence this is. And I have not told you what that silence means for what comes next. Stay with me. Welcome back. I want to pick up exactly where we left off. Because there is something I need you to understand before anything else. And it is this. Heaven going silent is not the same as heaven going still. Let me explain what I mean. Most of us have been taught, in one way or another, that the response to something good is noise, applause, celebration. The louder the better. And so when we go through seasons where nothing is loud, where nothing is celebrating us, where the only sound we can hear is our own breath and our own doubts, we interpret that silence as evidence that nothing is happening. I need you to hear this clearly. That is the wrong interpretation. There are different kinds of silence, and not all of them mean the same thing. The first kind is the silence of absence. The room is quiet because no one is there, nothing is happening. This is the silence most people fear. The second kind is the silence of waiting, the held breath before something arrives, the stillness of the moment just before the door opens. This is active silence. This is a silence full of something. And then there is the third kind, the rarest kind, the silence of witness. The silence that falls over a room when something so undeniably true, so weighty, so real, has just occurred that sound becomes inadequate. Not because nothing is happening, but because what is happening is too significant for noise to honor it properly. Think about Joseph. Not the ending of his story, but the middle of it. The part that lasted years. He was in a pit. He was sold. He was in a prison. And from every external angle, from every visible measurement, there was only silence. No angelic announcement. No supernatural display. Just a man in a dark place, continuing to be who he actually was when no one was looking. Nobody in that pit knew that what was happening in Joseph was being recorded with perfect precision by something that does not miss a single detail. The seed does not get applauded when it is in the ground. The soil does not part to let the light in early. The seed simply remains in darkness, doing the only thing it knows how to do, becoming what it was always meant to become, with no audience and no applause, and no external sign that any of it is working. And then, without announcement, it breaks through. The silence over your life right now is not the first kind. It is not absence. What felt like being forgotten was actually being guarded. What felt like no one watching was actually the most focused attention imaginable, being directed at exactly where you are. What felt like your choices disappearing into nothing was actually every single one of them being received, catalogued, honored, in a realm you cannot see yet. The silence over your life right now is the third kind, the silence of witness. The silence of something so precise, so careful, so sovereignly intentional, watching you do what most people would never do, and going still with the weight of what it is seeing. And I need you to understand something about your specific moment, about today, about the choice you made that brought you here. That choice was not the first test. This is what most people miss. By the time a chosen one makes the kind of choice you made today, there has already been a long history of smaller choices. A long sequence of moments where something in you chose faithfulness over bitterness, chose patience over reaction, chose trust over control. And each of those moments was a thread, and all those threads have been weaving together into something. And today, something about the specific choice you made confirmed that the weaving is complete enough for what comes next to begin. I hear the Spirit saying, "You thought you were just surviving another day." Heaven received it as a declaration. You thought you were just doing the next right thing. Heaven recorded it as consecration. You thought no one was watching. The one who formed you before you had a name was watching every second, and when you chose what you chose today, something shifted, something that was held, released, something that was waiting, moved. And now I need to tell you who you actually are, not who you are trying to become, not who you hope to be eventually, who you already are, right now, in this season, in this silence. You are not a person who almost made it. You are not a person who is close to breaking through and needs just a little more luck. You are not a person who is still being tested to see if you are worth something. Listen to me. You were chosen before this season began. The preparation came first. The assignment was established before the preparation started. What you have been walking through has not been a process to determine whether you qualify. It has been a process to reveal to you a version of yourself that has always been there, that was always going to emerge, that is now ready in ways it was not ready before. Let me tell you about someone. I will not use their name. About 9 months ago, this person was facing what felt like a total collapse. Something they had built over years came apart in a matter of weeks. The professional damage was real. The financial damage was real. The silence from people who had promised to support them was deafening. And they made a decision. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one. They stopped explaining themselves. They stopped defending their reputation in any public space. They withdrew from noise. And for 40 days, they practiced what I can only describe as faithful invisibility. Showing up, doing the work, trusting the process. With no evidence that anything was turning around, on the 38th day, someone contacted them. A company they had never reached out to, never pitched, never marketed themselves to. A 6-figure contract, more than double what they had lost. I am not telling you that to promise you a specific outcome. I am telling you that because of the pattern it represents. He proved himself in silence before he promoted himself in public. And the silence was not empty. The silence was where everything was being arranged. That is your story too. Not in the specifics, because your specifics are uniquely yours, but in the pattern. The silence is not emptiness. The silence is the arrangement. The silence is the gathering. The silence is what the third kind of heaven's quiet always precedes. Now I want to tell you what you are carrying, because it is time for you to stop treating it like a burden and start recognizing it for what it actually is. You are a light bearer. You carry something that does not extinguish in the dark. You have been in some of your darkest seasons, and something in you has kept illuminating the next step for yourself and for people around you, even when you felt like you had nothing left to give. You are a seer. You perceive things before they are visible. You have sensed things in relationships before they became obvious. You have felt shifts in situations before anyone else spoke them out loud. That is not sensitivity as a weakness. That is spiritual precision. That is a gift. You are a voice, not necessarily with a platform, a voice in the truest sense. The person whose words, when they finally speak, land differently than other words. The person whose presence in a room shifts something. The person who says the thing that everyone else was feeling but could not articulate. And you are a spiritual warrior, not because you are aggressive, but because you do not collapse. You have had every reason to collapse, and you have not. You have bent, and you have broken in some seasons, and you have come back together again, and you have kept going. That is not something everyone can do. That is the mark of someone built for a specific assignment that requires staying power. And I hear the Father saying this: the silence was never my absence. The silence was my attention. I was not far from you. I was closer than your own breath. And I was doing something in you that required quiet to complete, the way a surgeon requires stillness for the most delicate work. What you did today confirmed what I have always known about you. And now, watch what I do next. I want to sit with you in that for just a moment. Because what comes next is not just information. What comes next is a shift in how you carry yourself from this day forward. There are 3 things I want you to take with you from this message, not as concepts to think about, as realities to live from. The first is this: your invisibility is temporary. The silence over your life is not permanent. It is purposeful. Every season of divine silence in history has ended with a visibility that no amount of self-promotion could have manufactured. Joseph did not promote himself out of the prison. He was elevated from it. You are not responsible for making yourself visible. You are responsible for remaining true in the hidden place. The elevation is not your assignment. The faithfulness is. The second is this: the weight you carry is proportional to the assignment you have been given. This is important. You are not struggling more than others because you are weaker. You are carrying more than others because you were built to carry it. A column that bears more weight is not a weaker column. It is a more structurally significant one. The heaviness you have been feeling is not evidence of your inadequacy. It is evidence of your assignment. And the third is this: what you do in secret is more formative than anything you do in public. Every quiet choice you have made, every moment of faithfulness when no one was watching, every time you chose to remain true to something when the easier path was right there, all of it has been building something in you that cannot be manufactured any other way. Character formed in the hidden place is the only kind that can sustain what public platforms and real impact actually require. Now, I want to give you permission for something, because I know there are things you have been carrying that you have not given yourself permission to put down. You are allowed to stop minimizing what you carry. You are allowed to stop apologizing for the season you are in. You are allowed to outgrow conversations that no longer have room for who you are becoming. You are allowed to protect the thing that is being formed in you, even if protecting it means becoming less available to people who are used to having unlimited access to your energy. You are allowed to be in process, to not have it all together, to still be becoming the thing you are becoming without performing an arrival you have not yet reached. And you are allowed to believe, starting today, that the silence is not against you. It is working for you. Every day of it, every hour of it. Now, I want to close with something sacred, and I want you to stay with me for just a moment longer. Bring your attention fully here. Whatever else is going on around you, whatever you have been carrying into this moment, I want you to do something simple. Not standing up, not moving, just this. Wherever your hands are right now, open them, palms up, or just relaxed and open. It is a small gesture, but it is a posture of receiving rather than holding, a posture that says, I am not gripping anymore. I am open to what is being placed. In the ancient Hebrew language, there is a word used in the story of restoration that most people translate simply as getting back what was taken. But the original word carries a deeper meaning. It means restoration to something greater than the original, not a return, an elevation, not going back, going beyond. What was taken from you, the peace, the clarity, the sense of being fully yourself, was not taken permanently. And what is being returned will not simply restore you to where you were. It will carry you past where you have ever been. You did not come this far to arrive back at your starting point. You came this far to be sent. And I hear the Father saying one final thing, and I want you to let it land as truth, not as poetry. The silence was never my absence, it was my attention. I was not far. I was forming something in you that required quiet to complete. The way the most delicate things require the most careful hands and the most still environments, what you chose today was not small. It confirmed what I have always known. Now watch. Because I am about to do something with your faithfulness that you do not yet have the capacity to imagine. And you will look back on this season, this silence, this moment where you kept going when you had every reason to stop, and you will understand why it had to happen exactly this way. You are chosen, you are formed, you are sent, and heaven knows your name. If you are sitting with someone right now who is in a quiet season and wondering if any of it matters, share this video before you close it. Not because I asked you to, because you know what it felt like to need this message, and you know someone who needs it too. Go carry what you were built to carry. I will see you in the next one.